In order to understand the governance of the global economy, many international political economy academics revert its conceptual frame with the neoliberalism. Secondly, neoliberalism as a system of enhanced capitalist power in which marketization is stressed. By knowing the four starting points mentioned above to analyze, the neoliberalism itself is divided to three main periods of time or eras, which are the first age starting from the late 70s until early 90s, the second age starting from the mid-90s until mid-2000s, and the third age starting from late 2000s until now. Over the past 4 decades, the empirical environment of the world economy has changed, which leading the international political economy academics or scholars to analyze the theory of neoliberalism by pointing out 4 things. As Harvey said, neoliberalism is in the first instance a theory of political economic practice that proposes which human well-being can best be advanced by liberating individual entrepreneurial freedoms and skills within an institutional framework characterized by strong private property rights, free markets, and free trade.
From the late 1970s to the early 1990s, development of neoliberal era is a particular political context within US and the UK. While trade union organizing remained strong until 1990s, according to them, poor developing nations were not different with the rich nation. Although conflict occurred both in social and economy, it's happening also on political struggles. Neoliberalism is a political ideology which resulted from a few efforts at reinvigorating classical liberalism in the period before and during World War II, even Cold War, by political theorists such as Wilhelm Reich and Friedrich von Hayek.
Machiavellian free market theories is the actual making of hegemonic neoliberalism, and it's a concept. She assumed that the market authority nexus was undergoing to a troubled times, especially in the early 1990s, because the government was facing a pressure from the financial elites. Neoliberalism intended to be part of EPE, including how to explain the evolution and the expanding opportunities for capitalism in the context of the post-Bretton Woods monetary order and the collapse of the Cold War. Andrew Gamble's work was important at how neoliberalism, which at the time said as a social market economy model that need a strong state to function. Susan Strange, 1980, was important to how financial markets were developing into a structure of power.
After mid-90s, the term of neoliberalism became common in IPE and related social science fields. For example, privatization agendas occur especially in Western Europe and Latin America. Regarding world trade liberalization policies, this period displays strong growth and political commitment through the newly formed World Trade Organization, or WTO, especially in relation to North America and developing Asian trade, such as government withdrawal of certain responsibilities and transfer public assets to private. In the early 2000s, the success of the neoliberal economy depended on the quality of the rule of law, controlling corruption and political stability of the country. From 1995 to 2000, world merchandise export grew about 7% annually in terms of value.
It has become the dominant ideology shaping our world today. Collaborating with the IMF, it is from their hands that neoliberal ideas are practiced through the privatization of government assets, opening private investment based on natural resources, fisheries and forestry, facilitating foreign investment and opening free trade. But under the Cold War era, the main enemy of this understanding was also the countries under the influence of socialism. This is an era in which financial market deregulation, privatization, weakening social security institutions, weakening trade unions and protecting the labor market, reducing the role of government, and opening the door to the flow of international goods and capital. especially in the USA and the UK. Thought in situations with strong financial support, neoliberal theory began to enter into the policies of the 1970s, especially in the monetary sector, especially during the reign of Jimmy Carter, when economic deregulation was needed as an answer to the stagflation.
With the global financial crisis occurring throughout history and its various impacts, for example in September 2008, on the subprime mortgage market, there was an acute crisis with the fall of investment banks before producing a major world recession, and unfolding a series of socio-economic dislocations. For some parties, it will be assessed that various crises that occur as a cause of weakening the ideological neoliberalism, but in fact, this is a phase where social contradiction deepened. At the same time, when policy reforms took effect, the crisis triggered fresh thinking about the overall feasibility of neoliberalism as an organizing concept. However, at the same time, in recent years, there has been an increase in the level of skepticism and concern regarding the use of the concept of neoliberalism, a conversation that has featured international political and economic theorists and others in social science.